Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's class. We'll continue from where we stopped during the last class. We stopped at pivot table. None of you mentioned pivot table, right? But we stopped at five pivot table and using pivot table to do analysis, trying to use pivot table to check for trends, check for insights, and to do EDA, of course, on the data set itself, right? So pivot table has really been helpful for us. We saw how we can use a new tool to check for trends, check for insight, and do some analysis in Excel itself, right? It's very, very easy. So, um, what we're going to do today is going to just to refresh our memory as to how we normally use pivot table to check for trends, to check for analysis, and we can also use pivot table to check for KPIs. KPIs are key performance indicators, right? So this is becoming more of a business analysis aspect where we want to analyze what is happening in a particular business. And this is a biker shop, right? A shop that sells bike somewhere in the US. I want to use this to analyze and check what is happening to them. Very, very important. All right, so today we are going to see how we can use this to also check for KPIs. And what are KPIs? They are key performance indicators that we can use to check for insights, to check for trends, to understand what is happening in the market or in the store itself. So, like where we stop, if you have seen the video in the last class and you saw the video, you will know how we can also generate all these things using pivot table. So how do we do it? We go to insert, right? So we're going to click on any column, right? Or any cell itself. So we go to insert, sorry, from insert, we click on pivot table. Then if you have tried it, I was expecting you to like encounter a problem, right? I was expecting you guys to have encountered. Who has tried it? Who has tried out what we did in class on the last class? Tinuke, Tokbe,
Yes,
Absalam,
sir.
have you all tried it? Did you try it out?
Uh,
Pivot table,
Yes, sir.
and it worked perfectly, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, makes sense. Makes sense. I was expecting some of you to encounter a problem, and the problem is not far-fetched. So I'm not going to tell you the problem you're going to encounter. So if you did not encounter the problem, all well and good. So that is key. So if you encounter that problem as to having difficulty to using pivot table, right? Having difficulty to using pivot table, and well, maybe it might not be here, maybe somewhere else, maybe where we might have that difficulty when we want to create our dashboard, maybe. So, but let's leave that as that. So what we're going to do right now is we want to check for some KPIs. And what are those KPIs that we can go for? We can look for KPIs for, say, we want to know the average salary they are paying or um the average salary of those guys that come to inquire for both those saying yes and those saying no. We want to know that. We can easily check the average salary. And how do we do that? There are two ways we can do that. We can get the average salary of the total average salary of those people that has come. So how do we do that? So we come here. Remember, we come to clean. You just pick on any column, then we press Control here. Once we press Control, you will see it changes to Abdul Salam. Everybody, if you're not in the last class, you might not understand what we did here, but I'm not going to go back. I will just tell you to go and watch the video. If you finish watching the video and you don't have a clarity to that, the previous video, I mean, a clarity as to how we got this Abdul Salam, you can call me. Yeah, you're just a chat or a call away from me, so I'm going to explain. But the requisite for you calling me is for you to have checked the video. So I'll just click on OK. Of course, I already have this. So what I need here is going to be income because I know income holds the money. So this is a sum total of the money they are paying. They already got. So in terms of all the people that came to the company, this is the amount that it's total to. So we have one, two. So which is going to be 56,360,000, right? But I don't need this. This will not give me an insight to whatever thing I'm looking for. So what I need exactly is the average. So the average just simply means it means that if I'm meeting someone for the first time and I ask for this person's salary, I should know that if this person will buy or not, or if this person is my client or not. That should give me an insight. This is the reason why I'm looking for this particular value. So, which means if I are any lower than this particular value, for obvious reason, you are not my customer. You won't even come and check whatever thing I'm doing. So how do I get to know the average? I come here, I click this particular arrow down button. Once you click it, you have this thing up here showing. I'm sure you are seeing it. So you click on value field settings. From value field settings, you change to average. From sum, you change to average, then you click on OK. So this average is showing you that, oh, it means the average salary of everybody that has come to our store, right, is going to be 56,000. So if I ask for a salary and you're like, oh, I earned 56,000, yeah, so I think you should be able to afford buying, you should be able to afford buying a bicycle in our shop. That's basic principle, right? That's the basic meaning. Another thing I can also do to make it more realistic, more good, is for me to know who are those that can um who are those that can buy, right? What's the average salary of those people that will buy a bike, right? What's the average salary of those people that will buy a bike? This one is telling me the average of people that has come to my shop to inquire, right? So I want to know the average salary of people that have come to buy a bike. I can also know the average salary of people that are males that can buy and females that can buy. That can be very, very good also. That can be a very good analysis that I'm going to do. So I'm going to add that to whatever thing I'm doing right away. So I can scroll down or I can even come here and do it here. But let's scroll down to check. So we now have how many? We have many again, right? So let me just come down here and do it. So that place is not going to be crowded. This place is not going to be crowded. So I can come here, go to insert again, click on pivot table again, come to clean, click on any column, press Control A, click, you have OK, so everything becomes normal. So what I'm looking for is I want to know the average salary of people that are male that can buy and female that can buy, right? Very important. So how do we get to that male? So I'm going to have gender. So I'll click gender here. Once I click gender, you will see I have male and female, right? So I will do salary. Where's income? No, no. So what I've been able to do is I used three different columns. What we normally do as to what we did during the last class has always been us using two different columns, right? But now you will see that we are using three different columns to analyze. And this was easy due to the help of pivot table. So what did I do right now? Let me explain again. What I did was to get my gender, right? To have this, the name and female, right? And as against the people that purchase the bike. So that's yes and no, right? I can even do reverse case, right? But let me quickly explain this. So yes and no, which is this, right? Which is going to be on the x-axis, right? So once I'm done with yes and no, then the next thing, the value I want here, I don't want the value of people that I bought. What I needed here is the amount of people that have bought in terms of the income. So this time around, I will just say average. Sort of using sum, I will just use average. Average will make more sense, just the way I did earlier. So if I do average and I click on OK, what this will be giving me now is going to make more sense. right? Which means that if you really want to buy a bicycle in my shop, you must be earning something, nothing close to 57 or $58,000 or 58,000 if it is in naira, 58,000 naira per month. That's a simple meaning. That's a simple analogy of what we've just done there, right? But I can do it in such a way that it's going to make more sense again. Maybe perhaps I do a reverse case. So reverse case is going to be I can bring this here, then return this here. Same thing also happens, right? You can see it now. Same thing also happens. So the question is not going to be, I've got like more in 4 decimal places. Can I reduce it to 2? Yes, we can reduce it to 2. So what we are going to do is just come back to home. From home, we just do this. So once you do this, we keep reducing. So you just click on a certain values that you want to click on. For example, this is what I want to change. I can just change it. Can change this to 2 decimal places to make more sense. Change this to also to 2 decimal places. Can you see that? And change this to 2 decimal places too. Change this to 2 decimal places. Let me change this to 2 decimal places. Yeah, so once I'm done with all this, yes, so I think that is, you can see another way of doing this. Like I said, no two analysis must tell the same story. That is very important. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? I've got like 9 different ones. 9 different ones. Another KPIs we can get is to know the total male and total female. I think we already have that. Yes, we already have total male, which is 49, and total female. We already have that. Another one that I gave during the last class was to check for in terms of cars owner, in terms of children. I gave you the assignment to do that. And I think you've not been able to do that. That is very, very important. So I will still give you back. So you'll be the one to do it again. We don't want to do it again. So, having said all these things that we've done in class, I think the next thing is just for us to now go to visualization, because it's from here that we are going to get to use our visualization aspects. So how do we now create a dashboard? That is a very big, another aspect of data analysis. After I might have done this, the next thing is just for us to see how we can create a dashboard. But before we go there, do you have any question? Any question, please? The class is open for question, because going to that aspect is another aspect entirely, but it's also linked with this particular aspect. Who is in class? Any question? Atinuke?
No, sir.
Akinola Sodiq, any question? What did you say?
I said the reason why I've not done the assignment is because I've not, maybe because you sent the recording list, so I've not
Okay.
had time to really digest.
Okay. I hope you can all hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem. I will assume that. So let's just quickly go to the next one, which is the visualization aspect. So we are going to create a new sheet, right? So please listen attentively. This is very, very critical, very, very key too. So we are going to create a new sheet. Like I said, I can rename this sheet. Just right click, click on rename. Then we can rename it to say dashboard. Press enter, right? This, we did not give this a color. So let's give it a tab, give it a color, maybe black. This one, I can change it, say yellow. So what are those things that we need to do? So what do you mean by visualization? We're talking about visualization aspect, What do you mean by visualization? Data visualization. So data visualization is a graphical representation of information and data. What are the information? This is the information that I've got here, right? The graphical representation of this information and this data that I've got here is called what? Data visualization. Hope you can understand what I'm saying. Please note all these things. Very, very important. Very, very important. So in that, it helps decision makers to make proper decision easily. It makes them understand trends. It makes them to understand patterns. It makes them to understand insights. Mere looking at things, you understand, oh, this is where this thing is going. I can make decision based on this. But many of them don't really understand, and they are not interested in all the analysis that we've done. What they are interested in, okay, how many males do we have in our company? How many females do we have in our company? How much are we making every month? That is very, very key, right? So what it means is there is this particular rule in graphics, basically saying a picture is worth 1,000 rows, right? A picture. So you too, you just put yourself in that shoe. You prefer to look at a picture rather than to read, or you prefer to also even look at a picture on Instagram or a video on Instagram rather than to read a very lengthy post. Why not summarize all these posts that you are writing? Summarize it and put it in a graphics, or summarize it in one letter. So if it is a graphics, that same post that you think is very, very lengthy, you will read it and read it and read it again. Do you understand? So it's important for us to understand all these levels, all these gimmicks, right? So what are the benefits? So it's make them see like KPIs easily. So there is quick understanding of KPIs easily. They help them identify trends. And if there are anomalies in the company, they will easily see it. And it makes them make very informed decision, right? And it's also called a stakeholder reporting. So if you are even making presentations, it makes more sense. It makes it easier. Everybody understands what you are doing better. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's important for us to do that. So having said that about data visualization, so the next thing is, how do we now do that in Excel? How do we do that in Excel? Right? It's very easy. Very, very easy. So what are those things that we need to learn? Again, please, there are different charts. So what we'll be using here is this thing entirely. Let me show you. It's okay. It's not going to show us. So it's all these things I have here. Let me see if I can get it here. Okay, let me come back here. So I'm going to show you from here. So let me just click on anything. So it will respond. So these are all the charts that we'll be using. Can you see? But it is limited. These are all the charts that we'll be using. However, please note this down. If you want to write it down, write it down. I'm going to tell you when to use individual, especially the ones that are very popular, the ones that we'll be using constantly. When do we use them? So we can't just see any charts or any analysis and say, oh, I want to use bar charts. Oh, I want to use line graph. Oh, I want to use pie charts. Right? Most of the time, the bulk of our visualization will come into play is to be using all these charts. Just to explain these things very well, because your stakeholders will not have that patience to read the figures. What they are interested in is, okay, how many? How much? Are we making profit? Are we making loss? Okay, that one is bigger than the other one. For example, you can see what is showing on my screen. It's obvious that even before you know, you already know no is bigger than yes. Even you don't need to know the values. Based on the visual, you already know what is happening here. And you can make informed decision based on this, on the spot. right? Very easy. So what I'm going to tell you right now is for you to know when to use these individual charts, right? For you to know when to use these individual charts. It's very, very important. So when do we use column? Column here is talking about bar charts, right? Vertical bar charts. We use this when we are comparing values, when we are comparing categories or values. For example, I want to know how much is a male collecting, how much are females. We want to compare values. I've got Tinuke, I've got Tokpe, I've got Abu Salam, I've got Sadiq in the class, right? And I want to know, okay, how many males do I have in class and how many females do I have? I've got it 1 to 4 or 1 to 3, right? How much does the male earn compared to how much the female earns? Okay, a certain level in the government work, level 8 officer earns so amount, level 10 officer earns so amount. Why is it that level 10 officer is earning more than level 8 officer? I want to know what's the difference. So when you are comparing values or you are comparing categories, we use bar charts. Please note this. So when do you use line graph? This one. We use line graph only when we want to check for trends. We want to check for trends. For example, trends over time. Okay, how much are we making? Monthly revenue. Every month, how much are we making? Now you want to check. You remember when we started Excel? I did January to December, and I showed you the amount of sales you are making. If I want to now check how much are we making, I want to know the trend. You know, that one will tell you if you are going up, and it will tell you if you are coming down. Right? So if you are checking for trends over time, we use line graph. Please note that. Right? So another thing that we want to do is if you want to use the other bar, you know this is bar chart or this vertical bar chart. There's another one called horizontal bar chart, which is this one, right? When we use this one, it's quite different from when we can use this other one. So when we use this one when we are trying to rank items. I want to rank them, place them in their faces, right? In their places. I want to rank them. That is when I use what? This horizontal bar chart, right? So the next thing is going to be pie chart. When do we use pie chart? We use pie chart for distributions. So I want to know which one is bigger, which one is smaller, percentage distribution. Sometimes we use pie chart for that. However, those are major charts we'll be using. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So maybe sometimes you can use 5, maybe sometimes, but not always. But let me quickly tell you when to use other ones. There's another one called the combo chart. Combo chart is this is it here. So it's when we are trying to do multiple measures, right? If we want to do multiple measures, right, we use a combo chart, right? Then I think we discussed about spark lines. Spark lines can be used to check for mini trends in a cell. Remember when to use spark line? So we can use spark line. I will show you where we get the spark line here. This is it here. Where's this? Okay, it's here. Spark lines. This is it here. Right? That is when to use spark lines. Please note all these things because I will be asking you when to use these things and how do we need to decide which charts are we going to use. So I'm telling you this because you should be different from just any prior person that will just decide to use anything. Having said that, so the next thing is just for us to now start creating our dashboard. But before we start creating the dashboard, there is something, now I told you earlier that as a developer or as a programmer, before you start writing anything, coding, you need to write down what you want to do in plain language, right? And that was what thing we called pseudo code, or you can write a flow chart. But for designers, it's always very good to do something we call sketching. We want to have an idea of how our dashboard will look like. So for all the best of the best designers always sketch, and that sketching is called wireframing. Please note all these things down. Wireframing. So it's always very important for us to wireframe or do a mock-up of what we really want to design in the dashboard. So that gives an idea of what you want to do, where you want to put some things, and of course, it makes your work faster and neater. So you won't be erasing or removing every time. Rather have an idea of what you want to do, and that's how it works. So how do we do that? So the first thing I'm going to do here, this line is not different from all these things. The first thing I'm going to do here is to scrape all these grid lines. Then how do I scrape the grid lines? I just move to views, right? And I uncheck this grid line. Once I uncheck this grid line, you will see that this place is blank. So the next thing I'm going to do now, again, is to make sure I have a bigger canvas. You know what a canvas is? Now I'm talking like a designer. So I'll also be teaching you a bit of graphics design, right? Together with how to work with a product, let's say product design generally. A bit of product design or graphics design because you need to be very, very good also. Understand the basic principle to graphics or to design before you can design a compelling dashboard. So once I do this, the next thing I need to do is to have a bigger canvas. What do I mean by a canvas? Canvas is the area in which you are drawing or the area in which you are writing. When it comes to designs, when it comes to creativity, that is what we call Canva, right? I'm sure you have an app called Canva, but the literal meaning of what Canva is that area in which you are confined to draw or to paint, right? That area is called a Canva. So next thing I'm going to do right now is make it bigger. How do I make it bigger? Is by making sure that I remove this. I make this remove. So how do I remove that? I just come here, click on any of these menu bar, right? Called ribbon. Right click on it. Then once you right click on it, you will see customize ribbon, you see collapse ribbon. So once I click on this collapse ribbon, it becomes bigger. You can see. This becomes bigger. So let me make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Aha. So it becomes bigger like this, right? So you can see it is plain, it is blank. Of course, it is plain, but the cells are still there. Can you see? The cells are still there. The only thing is I remove the grid lines, and that makes more sense for me, right? So the next thing I need to do is to do my wireframing. So what do I mean by wireframing? Like I said, wireframing is just like a sketch of what we want to do. So first thing first, we need to create a canvas for ourselves. Come in. I need to create a canvas for ourselves. So this is a canvas, right? So the next thing is going to be what? For us to have, so I can use a freehand sketching to do whatever thing I want to do right now. For us to have anything we want here. For us to draw anything we want here, so I can use my freehand. So yeah, we can always make sure that your dashboard is divided into 2 or 3 parts. So we have the header, which is the first one, the first part. Yeah, we have the body and we have the footer. Right? The header, the body, and the footer. So that is the major things that we need to do. So once you understand this fact, you are good to go. So the next thing is just for us to now do a design of what we want to put in. Right? So yeah, because I know that I would have my logo. Sorry about my box. Don't worry, we are going to arrange everything better. Or rather, I can even be using my square bracket to arrange that. So instead of using this, I can use my square or rectangular box to do that. So let me erase this. I'm sure you can see my screen. So I come here. So because I already know that I have created this into 3. So I have this is 1. Then the below, this might be our footer. Say here will be my body. Like I said, I now said I will have my logo here, right? After I put my logo, so I can say, okay, we can have some KPIs. KPIs are key performance indicators that people can see at a goal. Can you see? So after I might have done that, right? So the next thing we now have what? Our body. So inside the body, this is where we have different charts. So I can say the way I want my body to look like is going to be something like this. I should have something that shows a table. Then I have another box here. I have another chart here. I have another chart here. I have another chart here. Can you see? Then I can say I can put one small chart here. Maybe another one here. Yes. Can you see? This gives me an idea of what I want to do. This is what is called a wire framing. So it's not necessarily you do it on the computer. You can use your pen and a plain book to do this exact thing. So before the advent, and there are apps we can use online. You can download them on your laptop and you can use them online directly. But I always advise my students to use their pen and paper. Use your pen and paper to design these things, right? Use your play. It's easier for me, maybe because I've been doing it over and over and over and over again. So I can quickly do that on my laptop, sketch it out, and bring it out to replicate what I've got here. However, please, you can do all the sketching on your paper. Do all the sketching on your paper and let's see how it goes. So let's see how we can replicate this in real life. And that's the first thing that we need to do. Let's see how we can replicate what we've just done in the real design work, right? So let's go back. You already have an idea of what we want to design. So let's go back there. So we're going to erase everything we've got here. Right? So the first thing is going to be what? The bigger canvas. So we have our canvas here. Our canvas is here. So the next thing we need to do is have a background of this canvas. Instead of using white, we can use something else, right? So how do we do that? I will just come to insert. From insert, you can see now it comes. The only thing is once I'm done with this ribbon, automatically it collapses, right? Aha. And does not affect the size of whatever thing I'm doing. I come to shapes. So from shapes, then because this is what we used, I will just pick the rectangle. Then I can start from, say, 2 or 3. Let's say 2. Then maybe give some space. Maybe I stop at U, something like this. Aha. Maybe I stop at 29. I'm stopping at 29 because that is the way my list system is. Oh, the system might be bigger than this or might be smaller than this. So make sure you do something that will be very visible, not a smaller one, right? So what's the next thing I need to do? I can see that I have what? a deeper color. Then I need to change it. So this now takes me to something I need to show you. You don't need to crack your brain or crack yourself against whatever thing you want to do, right? In terms of color. So computer, we've really made this thing very easier for you. What you need to do right now is just for you to come to a particular place called colors.io. I'm going to show you my internet right now. I mean my browser, sorry, say the internet. I'm going to show you my browser. So we're going to do search for colors. Colors.io. Okay, this is colors.co. Sorry, this is here. Just click on it. I'm sure you can see my screen. So this colors.co, once you go there, it gives you a range of different colors that you want to do. So yours, you don't need to give yourself hypertension or give yourself some headache as regards how you want to go around getting these things done, right? You don't need to give yourself headache, too much headache. You don't need it, right? So computer will help you with the designs, except cookies. Then I should close this. Then we can now do explore. Just come here. You don't need to sign up. Just click on explore colors. So once you click on explore, I'm sure you can see my screen, right? You will see that you have different color combinations that whatsoever. Apart from that, you know, the first thing you need to know, go with the colors of the company, right? Or colors that stipulate or explains whatever thing you are doing better, right? Any color that you pick, if you come here, you will see a corresponding color that follows it, that suits that color. So you don't need to cram. You don't need to give yourself a headache. Come here, pick any color that you want to pick, and you move. We move, right? Depending on whatever thing you want to do, we can pick any pellets. Then we start playing around it. So let's pick this particular pellet. So which means that if I'm picking any color, I know this color that I'm going to use will be the color that I'm going to use to write on it, right? So I'm picking this particular color so I can write on this or change whatever thing I want to change within the thinking, right? So this thing is very important. So I can pick this color for background, right? And pick this color for the cards I'm going to be using. So let's check. And one important thing about this particular website is I don't need to cram or copy this. What you need to do is just click on the color code. Can you see the way I've clicked it? It has been copied to the clipboard. So the next thing you are going to do is go back to your Excel, right? And how do we do this? How do we change whatever thing you want to change? Just right click on this body, then do format shapes. Once you do format shape, we have this here that pops up. We have field. This field shows this color that we are saying, and I don't need this color. All right. So the color I have, I will just go to more colors. Then from more colors, I will just replace this value I have here with the one I copied. So once I do that, I can just click on anything here, then click on OK. Can you see? It has changed. The next thing I need to remove is this line that is here. I can come to this line and pick no line. So once I pick no line, everything becomes perfect. And you can see it is good. So the next thing we did then was to divide this thing into three. We have the what? The header, the body, and the footer, right? So at the header part, right, we can easily just say, okay, I'm going to just do it this way, and nobody will know. So what I will just do is going to be come to insert, go to shapes, then pick this, or pick the one that we're supposed to pick. Let me go back there and pick it up. This one. So I'm going to come here. That's the way we did it earlier. So the question is now going to be, should it be the same color? Yes, can be the same color. Another thing is we can make it what? transparent. So how do we make it transparent? Let's right click, go to format shapes, right? That is the color that we are looking for. Transparency is 0, so I can make it 100 or 94. Can you see? Perfect, right? I've not even changed anything. Perfect, right? Then come to color line, no line. Everything becomes normal. So I've not really done anything special here, right? So the next thing is for me to do the logo and the other ones, right? So I can easily come here, create a new shape. Maybe perhaps I use this shape for logo. Don't worry, my logo will be there. Don't worry. So I can make it even bigger. My logo will be there, right? So because I want to quickly format this and know the shape or the color I want to use. Like I said, let me come back here. Right? I can pick, this was what I picked. I said we can pick this for our pen or our cards, right? So once I pick this, I can go back there and say format shape, then pick that color, more colors, then erase this to this, then just click anywhere here, then click OK. Can you see the difference? Then I can come here, pick no line. Another thing I can now do to this thing is to make it 3D embossed, right? Then I will come to this particular effect. It's called effect. So you can see we've got shadow. So I can say I want shadow. Then the shadow should be at the back, facing down, right? If I want reflection, I can say reflection will be there. If I want glory, want it to glow. I don't do all these things. I'm just showing you. I don't do them at all. Can you see? So this is how you can make your work beautiful, depending on what you want, right? So I don't use, I use shadow. For reflection, I don't use reflection. Can you see? This is where my logo will stay. Then the other two ones, then instead of going back to this insert, I can just copy and paste, right? You can copy and paste, but hold your control key and drag with a left click. You can drag. So once you drag, it becomes duplicate. Can you see? Same thing, I will hold my control key, drag, then it becomes duplicate. Can you see? So yeah, now because it's because it's going to be KPI and there are just two KPIs, what we'll just do is give it a space, a spacing, an equal spacing. Yes, you can give it an equal spacing. So how do we do that? You can say this and this and this. So how do we now get the equal spacing? The equal spacing is just going to be very easy for both of them. So I will just click on this, hold my shift key, click on the second one, hold my shift key, click on the third one, then come to page layout. Once you come to page layout, there is this thing called alignment. Alignment. I think we discussed that when we were treating Excel introduction. Then this one is going to be distribute horizontally. So if I click on distribute horizontally, the space in between them will be equal. Which means the space between this and this is equal to the space between this and this. That's the meaning. Another thing I did not confirm is, are they aligned to the top or to the, so I will just say align to the top. So everything becomes regular. Right? Don't forget, we've not put anything inside. We are trying to create what we created earlier. Using what? The what? Using the what? Wireframe. Using the wireframe. That was what we're trying to create and see how best we can do that. Because we have an idea of what we want to do, then that is how we want to do that. So the next thing is just for us to do the other ones, right? Because I have this, I don't want to go back there. I can just create hold my control key, then drag it down. So I drag this down, right? So I can drag it down to this level because this was what we designed the other time. Abi? Then the next one, can hold this, drag it here. Can you see the way I'm doing it? So the question is not going to be, are they all aligned? The answer might be no. Can you see? These are the things that you see online. These are the things that you see online. These are things that you see online, and these are ways they are doing them. You can see it's gradually becoming like what you normally see online, gradually. But the question now is, all these tabs, the paint that I have here, they are not aligned with each other. I need to make it align, right? Please, let's do that right now. So the first thing is going to be this, um, this, and this. So all these four ones, we want to make them align to the bottom. So we go back to page layout, go to alignment, then alignment to the bottom. So everybody becomes aligned with the bottom, right? Another thing we can also do is alignment to what? Vertical distribute horizontally. So the spacing between each other are correct right now. So yeah, we'll do the same thing for this one. We click on this, we do this, we do this, we do this, right? So we can come here, come to page layout, go on to alignment, then we align to the top. Once we align to the top, everybody becomes aligned. Then we can say, okay, align, distribute horizontally, just the way we did it. So fortunately, I don't know if all these things will be right. So we can just come here and confirm if the alignment is right. So we can align together again. Let's check the type of alignment we are going to use here. The alignment we are going to use here, is it going to be middle or center? Let's check for middle. Can you see? It's aligned. What center means is it should just bring everything to the center. That's what it means by center. So I want to ask the final question. Have we been able to replicate what we did in the wireframe? Is this the exact thing that we did in the wireframe? Absalam?
It means the footer.
You mean the footer, I think.
Yeah, we did not do anything with the footer the other time. But we've been able to create, I said either 2 or 3. We have our header, the body, and the footer. That's for 3. Sometimes our footer will just have 1 or 2 things. But because it's always very easy, very small, right? We don't always have footer like that. So footer, we always have maybe 1 or 2 things in terms of maybe slicers or something else. But most times, we always want to maximize our body because of the charts that I want to put inside. But have we been able to replicate what we did in the wireframe? Sadiq. Is Sadiq there? Can Sadiq hear me? Tinuke, are we on the same page?
I can hear you, sir. Network is bad here.
Are we on the same page, Tinuke? Tokpe, are we on the same page too? Before I move on, I just
Yes,
want to
we are on
confirm.
the same page.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we are on the same page.
Okay. So with all this now, you can see that we've been able to create the exact thing that we did. And this time around, this is more beautiful. Right? This is more beautiful. And that's the difference between wireframe and the real project. The wireframe basically is just telling you what you want to do, giving you an idea of how you want to go about with the business, right? Or with the design, right? Right. Whereas the real project is making sure that what you are doing is correct, right? Making sure what you are doing is correct. So that's very, very important. That's very, very important. So the next thing we need to do is now to start putting in all our figures. Let's start putting in all our figures. Like I said, this contains our logo. Then how do you have a logo? How do you find a logo? Yes, the company will have a logo, they have a name, and yes, that we want to put. But rather, I'm going to introduce us to also a certain website where we will see over 14 million icons. So all those icons that you see online in their dash, you can see dashboard creation is what you see online is the way we've just been doing it right now. Easy peasy. But the information that you need to put there is here. Very, very important. So this is where the bulk of the work lies. And this place, when you were cleaning your data, right? This place, very, very important. So I will just press this up, right? So very, very important. When you are cleaning your data, this is where it lies. So let's come back to our dashboard. This is the dashboard itself. So I'm going to introduce you to. Are you asking a question? So instead of us trying to rack our brain as regard icons, I'm going to introduce us to another website called Flat Icons. Let's Google. You just search this on Google. Flat Icon. Can you see? Flaticons.com. This also, we don't need to log in. If you want to sign up, you can sign up. It's free, but you have access to 18.1 million icons. So name that icon. When name that department, you will see the icons there. Name that department, you will see the icon there. So what's the department's name? So we are working on bikes, right? So let's check for bikes logo. Can you see? So immediately I've seen this. This can serve as my logo, right? So another thing that this particular thing helps is I might not be able to download. I might not download this. What I will just do is come here, do copy PNG. Once I copy PNG, I will just come to my Excel and just do Control V, which is normal paste. Can you see? With this now, it makes more sense. So because it is blue, I can go and check this and change. Maybe I can change it. Let me see if I have an option. I don't mean here, I mean in the website itself. Where is it? Oh, they don't have an option. The only option I have is white. And I don't think this makes sense. All right. So let's go back to my Excel and do whatever thing I'm doing. So this is the logo I want to use. Can you see? Very easy. Then I can come here and write name. So how do I write here? So I'll go back to insert, right? Come to text box. So this text box, will be using this text box very well now. So once you click it, you have this arrow throwing down. Then you can use it to drag down, right? So this time around, I can name the company's Nakel Bike Shop. You can see Nakelgreen Bike Shop. So I can, so here, everything we've learned will put into place now. So here, if I highlight it, can make it centralized, then make it bigger, then maybe bold. Right. Very easy. So the next thing we can do is we format this. I don't want to see this white background. I don't want to see this white background. So how do I do it? I right click on that white, go to format fill, then remove no fill and no line, right? Which means I can even make it bigger and nothing will happen. Nobody will know that it's bigger than the shop. So I go back to home. So this is 14. I can make it even 16. Then I can stretch this a little bit. Can you see? I've stretched it. Then there's something I'm trying to show you here. You can see the line has even passed where I want to put it. The line has passed where I want to put it. You can see it here, this line. But if I remove, I click on somewhere else, nobody knows what is happening. Can you see? Can you see? It is fine. So yeah, I'm not done. Maybe I might want to change the color from just black to say green because it's Nakelgreen. Maybe I will use a deeper green just for everybody to see what we are trying to do here. Nakelgreen biker shop. Can you see? Very easy, straightforward. So the next one, very easy, is going to be this. So how do we now bring this back? How do we bring this particular value? So I want to know this particular value, this fourth value, talking about the total number of buyers, right? Count of buyers. So I can change this from count to total number. Total number of not only buyers. The 1,000 is not for buyers alone. It's for both buyers and those who do not buy. Total number of leads or clients. Let's put it that way. You can say total clients. Abby, you can say total clients. Right. So how do we do total clients? It is 1,000. And we want to bring this 1,000. However, I told you that I want to link this dashboard to this place where if anything changes here, it affects this place and it affects this place also. Right? How do we now link it up? So please follow through, follow me. So we come to insert, right? We come to what? Text box. I will just, you can see this arrow button, this particular, just a line that is showing me. I'll just drag it anyhow I want to drag it. You can see, very small, but I'm going to make it bigger later. So what I'm going to do right now is I want to link that value. I want to bring that, instead of writing just 1,000, you know it's 1,000. I don't want to bring this, I don't want to write it. I want to bring it from another sheet. So which means if that 1,000 changes in that sheet, automatically the value will also change here. That's the meaning, right? So what I'm going to do right now is I won't write here directly. I will write inside this search bar. I will just do equality sign. Once I do equality sign, I will come to analysis. Can you see? It's showing analysis exclamation. So I will just click on 2. This is where I'm going to. So it's going to show analysis exclamation A2. So what I'm going to do is press enter. So once I press enter, you see that 1,000 that we have here is already here directly. So which means if anything changes here, automatically the value will also change here because I did not input this directly. Should I go again? I did not input this directly. So that is how it works, right? So I can now start doing my aesthetics in terms of the design. So I want it to be bold. So what I'm going to do, just click here, press Ctrl A, go back to home, make it bigger. That is certain. 1,000, yes. Make it bold. Maybe perhaps you can change the color. But I want us to be using the color that we started with, right? So I can come back here. Right, so I will just do format shapes, no fill, no line. So once I do that, I can even make this 1,000 bigger than this, but I think it's okay the way it is. We can make it bigger if you want to make it bigger, but it's okay the way it is. So the next thing is we need to do is I can as well do that same thing again. Come here, go back to insert, do text box. So this time around, I will just write directly inside this. Please note, if I want to link sheets to each other, worksheets to each other, I write inside what? The formula bar. If I just want to write anything, just the way we wrote Nakelgreen back cash up here, I will just come here and write directly. So what I want to write here is total clients. That's what I want to write. So simple one, I can come here, no field, no line. Everybody becomes good. I don't have issues, you don't have issues. Then we can drag this to the center. Then, like I said, I can make it even bigger. Come back to home. This 28, I can do 32 easily. I can do 36 comfortably. So the question now is going to be, okay, what type of icons are we going to use? What type of icon are we going to use for total client? So you don't need to rack yourself. Don't rack your brain. Come back here. Close this. Then you press clients. You press clients. You can see. We can use this. We can use this. We can use this. We can use this. Which one do we think? Me, I think we should use this. Do you have different colors? Yes, we've got different colors. So yeah, do I need to download? I don't need to download. Copy PNG. So once I do copy PNG, I come back to my Excel. Then I just press Ctrl V. Then I reduce it back. Very easy. So these are ways they check and they get those icons that some might be difficult. You can see how easy it is. This is total client, 1,000. Imagine you are the stakeholder and I'm presenting this to you. Do you need to tell me what is the total client again? Do you need to ask me again? No. But if I'm showing you this, you want to ask me different questions because this is not exact thing that you want to see. These are just numbers. But yeah, the way we've been doing it, you will see that you will also want to be, you will be interested in making sure we make a final decision here on the spot. And how do we get all these values? We got those values from this place. And that is why you're a data analyst and a business analyst. I'm not teaching you how to get your hands dirty with data. I'm also teaching you how to explain your final decision or your insights or what you've seen to stakeholders. Very, very important. At this stage, you'll be thinking about how do I explain this to a stakeholder? It's not just about knowing how to do it. How do you explain it to stakeholder is paramount, right? So the next thing we did here was to get the average income of all the clients. Average income, right? So we can come here. Yeah, since I've already done this, I can just hold down my control key and drag it in easily. So I can just say, average income. Right? I'm done with this. So the next thing is just for me to go back to this insert. Come to this place. Then drag this thing I want to drag here, just the way I did the other time. Right? So this time around, what I'm doing here is quite different from what we did in the average income. So I want to bring a value that I have here. This value, I want to bring it down here. So which means if I'm going to type here, I'm not going to type directly inside this place. I will type from here. Please note. Type from the what? Formula bar. Please note. Very important. So I will just type with an equality sign. That is also a function. That's also a function. Start with an equality sign. Come to analysis. Then click on this particular value, which is F2. Then press enter. So F2, I've been able to see the exact amount I have there, which is this. This is the amount I've got there, right? So I can make it bigger and better. So yeah, just press Control A. You click inside it, right? You click inside it, then you press Control A. Then we come to Home. We increase this. First, we make it bold. Then we can increase it to say 24, 32. 32 will be cool. Let's check 32. So you'll be saying, it's not good, it's not aligned. Don't worry. If I remove the white background and the line, nobody knows what is happening again. Can you see? Then I can place it even under this, right? Can you see? Then I can even make it bigger and bolder. Maybe I can use the exact 36 that I use here also. So how do I do that? I come here, click also, press Control here, come here, then increase this to 36. Yeah, then we are good to go. So if I click on any other, can you see? But if I click on it, you see that it has covered the average income. And that is the essence of what we are doing, removing the background and the outline. Right? Removing the background and the outline is the essence of what we are. Can you see? If the white is there, if that background is still there, of course, you cover this average. But once it's done, you can see nobody knows what is happening. Mine is now to go look for what icons that will explain these things properly. So let's go back and check for icons. So which icons are we looking for? Income, right? So which one are we picking? Someone should just pick one, please. Volunteer and pick one for me. Are we there? Pick one now.
There's money at the palm.
Eh? The one with what?
Let's
The one with what? Please pick one now.
The second one, yeah.
This one?
Dollar, yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay, let me pick this. You see how easy to get all these pictures. Does it now resemble the ones we can see online? The ones we normally see online? For obvious reason,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's looking like it.
Can you see? Very easy. So yours is not, the next thing is now for us to now go. We are done with what? The headers. So for obvious reason, if I open my dashboard, and this is what I'm showing you, won't you be interested in knowing more about the design? You will be very interested. You'll be interested in knowing more about this design. And that is the essence of all these things we are doing, right? Just for you to make sure that you understand the nitty-gritty of everything that we are doing. Understand the nitty-gritty of everything. We did not change the color for this. So let's try and change the color from black to green. Yes. And even we did not even check the color that we were supposed to use. We just assume it's going to be green. So let's check. We are using this color, right? You can see the green is not even there. So maybe you should have used this particular color. Let's check this color out. Let's see what difference this will make then. So let's check it out from here. Let's see if these will really help us make sense. No. So let's come here, do more colors. Then here, just Control V, then click on anyone here, click on OK. Let's see. Does it make sense? No. Does it make sense? Unless I have Unless I do one or two things to it. Answer me. This is an interactive class.
No,
Yeah,
no,
it's
it
not
doesn't.
this is not making sense. The green is even okay. The green there is okay.
Okay. Okay, fine. So, we are going to stop here, right? So I want you to please go and check, repeat all these things, practice these things, right? My plan is for us to finish everything today, but I felt I'm not going to do that. I want to take it step at a time, a step at a time. So I want you to follow through to where I stopped, and I want to see the exact thing that we've done. The exact logo. You saw where I got the logo, the exact icons, right? And the colors together with what we've just done. You can see that. Is it not interesting? Is it not beautiful to see? If I show you a dashboard, like this is a dashboard for a Nakelgreen biker shop, I want to explain what has happened in the shop. I want to understand, especially how to improve our marketing strategy, the marketing and sales strategy for the company. And I show you these are the first page. Won't you be interested? We've already seen the name of the shop or the logo of the shop. You've seen the total clients that we administer 1,000. We've seen the average income of people that are coming. This is the average income. So which means that people come into our shop. Our shop is also luxury. That's the meaning. Which means if anybody learning less than 56,000 US dollar per annum, it means your shop is not just a begbe shop. Your shop is a luxury shop. If you can attract someone like this, it means your shop is a luxury shop, because 56,000 just simply means the person is earning like 4,000 plus per annum, per month, so rather 4,000 plus dollar per month. And that is also enough for an average person. I mean, average, middle class, not average, middle class person. 4,000 plus is okay for a middle class earner, right? In a month, 4,000 plus is okay for a middle class earner in a month. So it means that a 4,000 person can afford to, that is realistic. A person earning $4,000 in a month minimum can afford to buy a bike. That is very key. And afford to buy a bike that is less than $500 or $1,000. Yes, it's possible. So you can't even buy a bike that is $1,000 like that when it's not all those sophisticated bike. It is normal bike that we buy. Should not be nothing less than $200, $300. That's max. So which means if you are earning nothing less than $4,000 in a month, we can afford to buy a bike. That's the simple truth, and it's commonsensical. Right? So which means our design, our dashboard, our result is even yielding fruit. It's even yielding fruit, right? So I'm going to stop here. So I want you to show me everything that we've done so far to this particular place. That's going to be our assignment against next class, right? So I wouldn't want to rush things. So our next class, we are going to start by putting the necessary charts in here. All the necessary chart that we need to put it here. So we are going to do that is where we're going to start. And we are going to, it's not just about putting charts. We are going to analyze different charts, understand what each individual analysis means. All these things that we've done, right? We want to understand what it means and how do we need to, or what type of chart are we going to use to represent this, to tell this story easily, right? Those are things I want you guys to do yourself. Read through, understand these charts, and tell me a story. Tell me a chart that tells this story easily. I've told you when to use bar charts, when to use line graph, when to use horizontal bar charts, when to use vertical bar charts, when to use histogram, when to use pie chart itself. I've told you when to use all those things. So all those scenarios falls under everything that we've done today. I want you to go back, read through, understand them, and during our next class, it's going to be very faster. Any questions so far? Do you have any question? In case of
Yes, I have a question.
Oh, okay. So what's the question, please?
I have a question.
Yeah, I can hear you. What's the question?
Can I go on?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can.
Okay. When you want to start this one that we are doing, it talks about using pen and paper for us to write it and stuff. So I want
Okay.
to ask is because I did product management,
Okay.
so I
Okay.
understand
Okay.
using pen and paper and using maybe
Wireframing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
balsamic
Yeah.
for your wire frame or something. So
Okay.
I'm asking, like, is this convenient? Is this more better? Like, is this better than using Lightroom? Because when we do product management, we use balsamic for our assignments or everything we want to do. When it comes to mock up and fire our wireframe, like, it's exactly a better version of using because balsamic is so complicated. It's so
Okay.
complicated. Like, with Excel, we need to give the same result that you expect from maybe a balsamic video.
Yeah, of course, of course. No, the essence of all these Figma, CorelDRAW, Photoshop for wireframing is just for you to understand and have an idea of what you want to do. For example, in project management, basically, what you are trying to do there is the aspect of UI UX of your product design. Very important. But before we dive into designing it itself, we need to design a mock-up to show a client that this is how the design will look like. Either we have two different types of wireframing. We have the high fidelity wireframe and low fidelity wireframe, right? But most of the time, what we've done, we showed earlier, was a low fidelity wireframe where we just do box. We drew box
Yeah,
everywhere just to show
yeah,
whatever thing we want to do. So this is an idea of how it will look like. So low fidelity is always faster, right? Because it doesn't contain any content. It doesn't have any content, right, in it. So you just give your client or your
yeah.
stakeholder an idea of how the app or an idea of how the design will look like. And that was what we did earlier, right? And I said, why I said you should use pen and paper is an advanced method is what all these apps that you are trying to use right now, right? Because we believe the advent of using pen and paper has gone, but I still believe it has not gone. And that was why I said pen and paper gives you an idea of what you are doing on the spot, right? Compared to you, when you think about it, that's when you now go and check, you now go and pick a rectangular box, you pick a circular box. But in your head, I need a circle here, just draw the circle. In your head, you already know this circle needs to be regular. If I'm designing this thing in real time, my circle will need to be regular. My rectangle needs to be rectangle. My square will be square. Do you understand? So basically, I still believe if you use pen and paper, it becomes more faster. You understand what you are doing better, but it is not presentable to clients. And that is the difference between using all those apps to using pen and paper. For example, you collected a project as a project designer, you are trying to build a particular product that is worth $1 million, right? And you said, okay, because you are this is the mock-up or this is the wireframe. You now use your pen to draw a wireframe. They will throw it back at you. Do you understand? But if you really want to do it fast to yourself, because what you are doing is for yourself, you are not showing your wireframe to your clients or to the stakeholder. The wireframe that we've done, nobody knows we did wireframe here now. Atinuka, did anybody know aside this particular circle that we are? If I'm going to present
No,
this my case to the stakeholder, would they know I have a wireframe? No, they won't see it. And that was why I said pen and paper will be faster for you, especially right now. But maybe when you are becoming more good, more better, so you can now start using Figma. You can use Figma for wireframe. You can use CorelDRAW. You can use Photoshop. You can use the app also we are trying to talk about. You can use, some people also use Visio. Some people also use Visio and the aspect of Jira. These are apps that you use where you if you are doing all these things, right? Very, very important, right? So, but because this thing is still for yourself, right? And you're not explaining, you're not showing it to anybody. And that's why I said you should use pen and paper. And that's the difference between the pen and paper and the apps that you are using. You also get the same results, right? The only difference here is you can't show your clients the pen and paper that you drew. Do you understand? So if it warrants you showing your client, you rather go and redesign it using all those apps because that gives you a leverage and that shows you understand what you are trying to do. But that same thing that you've done using the app, You can also use pen and paper to do the same thing, and you get the same results. The end result is the main thing, right? Understand what you want to do and replicate what you've done, right? What you've do, replicate them in a real world. Have I been able to answer your question? Hello?
Yes, yes, I understand. Thank you.
Oh, wow. You're welcome. Any other question, please? Okay. In view of no other question, can we just call it today? Enjoy and have a wonderful night.